right. So what happened with the Heineken can?
Sorry, y'all. Yesterday it was a cliffhanger, but it was a technical difficulty, but it worked just perfect. What happened was he actually went around to the trunk, and like I said, it was a homemade Heineken can, okay? So it was a trick can, and oh my God, he opened it up, and it was filled with drugs in there. I was like, crack. And I was so amazed at that because if that officer had actually checked that trunk, oh, I could have been doing federal time right now.
Oh man, so y'all really were blessed.
Yes, for real. I don't believe in luck. I believe in being blessed.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, we done with that story.
Yeah, and I didn't mess with him no more after that. That was it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now I'll be done with him
Oh,
too.
yes. Yes.
All right. So what happened with your next money-making boyfriend? I know you had a few of them.
There you go. Okay. Well, this guy right here, I actually met. He said that he was from New York, but he was actually from Charleston. So he.
Wait. So you mean to tell me he was from New York? I mean, from Charleston, and you know they have those accents. And he had a New York accent, and you couldn't tell he was from Charleston?
Girl, everyone can have a New York accent. You see how I just did it? And that's how he talked. He talked like he was from New York and not Charleston.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did y'all meet?
We actually met. I would be on my way to go to work on the road and on North Main Street. And he would be coming down North Main Street. So every morning we would lock eyes and look at each other, and that was that. We did that for about a good 2 weeks straight.
So when did y'all actually see each other in person?
We actually met in person at this spot. It used to be a cosmetology school that was right there on North Main Street. It's where the CVS is right now. It used to be a cosmetology school. So he was actually picking up a female and dropping her off every day. And I actually had my homegirl, another homegirl of mine, who was going to cosmetology school there. And that's how him and I met out there in the parking lot.
So was this girl, was that his girlfriend, or who was the girl?
Child, he said that was his cousin. That's what he told me.
So the oldest trick in the book.
Yeah, he said it was his cousin.
Okay, so when did y'all link up and actually start talking?
After he told me that was his cousin, I believed him. You know, that's what he said. So we went out on a couple dates, and you know, he bought me things, and he even bought me this beautiful blue pretty dress. And he used to wine and dine me, just take me out to dinner. And he was just such a gentleman. We would go out to clubs, and because, you know, clubbing was my thing back then.
Yeah, okay, you were a party animal.
Yes, I was. I told you I was going to be true and real and raw.
Yeah, so what is your like most memorable moment with this guy?
Oh my God, it was so many. He was not the guy or person that I thought that he was, okay? Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and what happened was, and this is the story right here, that it was just so crazy. He actually was, after we had, you know, talked and dated for a little while, you know, like you know, 2 or 3 months was like my little limit with guys. For some reason, I don't know, it's just 2 or 3 months. So he went MIA, went missing. And I didn't know what was going on, where he was. I didn't hear from him. He didn't call me. He didn't come by my house. He didn't come by my job. All those things stopped, okay? So I got worried because I've never had that happen to me, to where someone was interested in me and then all of a sudden they dropped off the face of the earth, right?
So during that time, like, how did you feel when the communication stopped?
I was devastated because I didn't know if he was dead or alive.
So when did he actually call you?
It went on for a while to where I didn't hear from him. I even went by the job that he supposedly worked at. He said that he was some type of security undercover person at the TJ Maxx. that was right there on St. Andrews Road. And this was back in 1989, 1990, sort of, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in there and asked him. I didn't even know his last name.
Wow, really?
No, I didn't know the last name. I just knew the first name, and I didn't even know if that was a real name. But it turned out it was a real name.
Okay.
I'll get to that later.
So you found out he didn't work there?
Okay, went in there asking the people, have they heard from him or do they know him? They said they don't know who that is.
What?
Yes.
So at this point you was thinking he's a liar?
Yeah, I was like, something ain't right with this dude. You know, because some kind of way I used to attract those kind of guys, and I was attracted to those type of guys.
So you didn't know what his activities was? Like, was he a money maker? Like, where was he getting this money from?
Well, he used to have the money. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. He used to have the money, but I found out that I think it was counterfeit money. He had counterfeit plates, and he knew how to make money off the counterfeit plates.
Oh, wow.
Yes, girl. Oh, my God.
So like a scammer.
The tea is real.
So, fast forward, how many months passed by before you heard from him again?
I would say probably about 6 months had passed, and then all of a sudden, I got a call, and the call came in. Somebody was like, oh, and one thing I want to let y'all know, he's the one that named me D.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he actually named me D, and I've been with that name ever since. That was my name in the streets.
All right,
Yeah.
Queen D Black.
Yeah.
Queen D Black.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6 months passed by. What did he say to you?
Okay, I got the phone call. He was like, "What's up, D?" And I was like, "I know this ain't who I think it is." And he was like, "Yes, it is. It's me." I was like, "Where you been at?" But you know, I use an curse word, like, but I'm not gonna curse on here because I don't curse like that. So he told me that he had gotten into a little trouble up in New York, and he had to do a little bit of time in the county, and he's out, but he's like on a probationary status, and he's in New York, and he couldn't come back to South Carolina right now. That's what he told me.
So did you think that was the truth?
Yeah, I thought it was the truth because he had me convinced that it was true.
Wow, so you were just gullible back then.
No, I was not gullible. I was just, had a heart for everybody. I gave everybody the benefit of the doubt because I'm a nice person like that.
Okay, so did y'all have plans on linking up again?
Yes, we did. He actually told me that he was going to have one of his homeboys, since he couldn't come to South Carolina, he was going to have one of his homeboys. He paid for a plane ticket for me to go so that I can come up to visit him in New York. And he told me that the guy was going to call me, and once the guy called me, I would meet this guy at this convenience store, and the guy would give me the ticket, and I would be able to go to New York to visit him.
Okay. So, were you like, how did you get in contact with the homeboy?
Well, the deal was the homeboy was supposed to call me, which my boyfriend at the time told me to go ahead because the guy was gonna call me. He gave me directions on what store to go to, wait by the phone booth because we didn't have cell phones. We had pagers back then, beepers. And so I did that. And so I waited. The guy was supposed to call at 4 o'clock to let me know that he was on his way with the tickets. And I had told my mom that I was getting ready to go to New York to visit my friend, and my mother thought I was crazy. Because I didn't know him like that, but I thought I knew him.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like a spare of the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so at this point, you're at the gas station. You're waiting on his call. What happened next?
I waited. The guy was supposed to come at 4 o'clock p.m. Call at 4 o'clock p.m. So I got there like 3:45. 4 o'clock came. I waited by the phone booth. No call. 4:15 came. No call. So I decided just to go sit in my car. And I waited around because the phone booth was right there by my car. Didn't hear nothing. So about 5 o'clock, I stayed to 5. I just went on home.
What? So on the ride home, like, what was your feelings like?
I was like, I just got played.
You just knew it, ain't it?
I just knew it at that time that he was full of, you know what.
So were you worried at all that, you know, you had to go home and explain to your mom what happened?
Not really, because she probably didn't think that it was going to happen anyway. And she was right. You know, you got to always listen to your parents, even though you don't want to. Yeah, so.
Okay. Did you ever end up, like, hearing from him again?
Yeah, he actually called me later on that night, and he told me that he was mad at his friend, because I had told him the friend didn't show up, and he was like, what? He was so convincing. He didn't show up. I paid him all that money. Oh, you wait till I see him, you know, da 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 da. So, you know, I kind of believed him a little bit because he was so convincing, because he would tell me all kind of stories about him, you know, in New York, like him and his friend was actually on top of a building, and they were like smoking marijuana and stuff, and they tripped over a dead body. You know, he just would tell me all kind of stories and stuff like that, and you know, had me convinced that, you know, he was telling me the truth about everything. So.
And how old were you at this time?
I think I was around 21, 22. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you ever see him in person?
Yes, I did. I saw him, actually I did see him in person, but it was under the circumstances because he was in jail. So you guys will have to tune in so that I can let y'all know how that went down, because this was a lying, cheating son of a gun.
All right, stay tuned.